Matt on?
He is. You want me to pull over?
No, not yet. Hopefully. All right, call the City Operations Committee meeting to order. First motion of business will be the approval of the minutes of the September 13th, 2021 City Operations Committee. A motion by Councilor Bob, second by Councilor Gibbs. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Let the record show that Councilor Canales has been excused for this evening. Item number 2, community events, 2.1 draft resolution authorizing holiday display in Trinity Park. Motion by Councilor Gibbs, second by Councilor Bopp. Discussion. This is the standard council resolution to approve the holiday religious displays in Trinity, something that we provide every year to religious groups who like to use Trinity Park. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. 2.2 draft resolution authorizing street closures for holiday parade. Motion by Councilor Gibbs, second by Councilor Bopp. Discussion. This is the holiday parade route. I think next year I'd like to propose the major parades that we typically do. Work with the council to approve those in one fell swoop rather than line by line. That way we can solidify the plans for the dates ahead of time and then also the routes ahead of time. This is the typical holiday parade. The Battle of Plattsburgh, we're already working with the 4th of July parade. Those are really the 3 parades that the city hosts. Anything outside of that will obviously come to council, but those are the 3 major parades, the Keystone parades that we typically do every year. So I think it just make it easier to proceed.
Sounds good.
Any further discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Actually, so we don't have Bill standing here, I'd like to move 4.1 ahead and then we'll get into the IT discussion. Draft resolution, 4.1 draft resolution authorizing MLD to award bids. Motion, Councilor Gibbs, second, Councilor Bopp. Discussion.
That would seem pretty self-explanatory unless you think there's something we should know, Bill, or anything.
No.
Okay.
These are our normal bids. Last year we didn't order any poles, told it to us. This year we're getting kind of low, so we're ordering in advance because of the supply chain issues.
Oh,
Usually it
right.
takes 8 to 12 weeks. It's probably going to be double that at least because they come in from Washington State.
Oh, okay. Why so far away? What's so special about them that they have to come from such a distance?
That's where the bidder came from, is in Tacoma, Washington. It's now this, they changed, they were bought out. It used to be McFarland, Cascade. Now they're Stella Jones, which is a Canadian company, but they're still a subset underneath that Canadian company.
What's the lumber? What, I mean, is it?
It's a southern pine, yellow pine.
And we can't get that more locally?
No, that's usually where we get the bid.
Huh.
We did have somebody from a number of years ago from Port Henry bid on it, but he was twice as much.
Oh, that's insane.
Well, he was buying it from somebody else, and then he was putting his, I think a 25-30% markup on top of that, and he wasn't even close.
Now, is yellow pine specific to that part of the country or area?
I don't know for sure, but they typically bid on it every time we put a bid out, and they usually wind up with it because they're usually the lowest bidder.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Mayor. Have a good
Thank
evening.
you.
Thank The next one is the updated finalized Google migration fees and a bit of a project update as well. I did ask Matt to join us this evening to give his expert update on where we're at with everything.
Hey, guys.
Oh, there you are.
You're here.
It was funny, right as you were introducing the next topic, everything kind of cut out. So I think that was me being pulled over into this part of the sharing
Yeah.
component.
We can't
So-
see we can't see you, but we can certainly hear you.
Yeah, so let me share my screen actually, Mayor.
Yeah.
And you guys can tell me when you can see it, okay?
There we go.
Yep, we can see
Perfect.
it.
Excellent. Okay. So we have just a couple updates. So thank you for allowing me to join you this evening and share these updates with you. This won't take long. We really have three components to the overall services that kind of go hand in hand. The biggest piece of this, why I've titled this the Google Workspace transition, is the transformation of the city to the Google Workspace environment. So we do have some good news, which I'll share on the Google Workspace migration. But what we're looking at here is the proposed timeline here for execution of the projects. Originally, we had a much larger scope for the Google Workspace, and that's shrinked considerably. And there's a couple of key factors or reasons for that. And then also the on-premise server component for your BAS software, some fire department software, SQL Server. So those were kind of those were the few essential things that needed to remain on-prem. Everything else is a part of the Google Workspace migration. You're going to be eliminating over 20 servers citywide, and you'll never have to incorporate upgrading that infrastructure ever again if you don't want to. So that's a huge benefit for you guys. And then the outline for the ongoing switch and firewall upgrade. So what you're looking at here basically is from this week forward to the end of the year, an outline for these three projects that are running or will be running in tandem, and kind of where we're looking to set these things on the schedule. So for the switch and firewall deployment, this evening earlier, we had our internal kickoff, and this week we'll be working on the configuration reviews in advance of looking to begin and complete the firewall and switch upgrades across the city, across these departments during these allotted timeframes. So we can, yep.
Sorry, just to interject there. As a reminder to the committee and to those watching, the switch and firewall initiative was something that we kicked off earlier this year when we purchased all of the hardware to be installed in these locations, considering the number of security concerns that we had.
Yes.
And it will lead into, obviously, Matt will talk about the migration over to the Google platform as well.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. So that's really one of the things, a couple of challenges that we faced during the course of this year, and we're pretty much over the hurdle. We do have a couple of larger switches that for the library, for example, and the PD, for example, we're still waiting for those. We've had some supply chain issues like many other industries and ours in particular. So we're expecting that those things should be here around this time, which is why we've kind of put the library and the PD in the latter phase of deployment. But everything else we do have in stock now. And so we're looking to have this completed, the better part of this completed by this particular project by the end of the year. But in reality, with the holidays and with some of the concerns on the hardware, we're probably going to be stretching into the early part of January. So I just want to make sure that I'm above board and identifying that for you all. The next piece, the big piece here is the Google Workspace migration, which I've reported back to the mayor, and I'll share with you here shortly that in analyzing this further, converting this from what would have originally been a Microsoft 365 deployment and turning that into a Google Workspace environment, and then again working with our parent company Konica Minolta for automated tools and additional migration resources. We're going to be able to save the city some money, and so much I'm really excited to share that with you. And then again, the on-premise server. So we're looking to have these two pieces, these two projects done before the end of the year, or by the end of the year, so that we can have a, some of this stuff will be going live as it's happening, but so that we can have a fully live target date of 1/1 or January 1st for the Google Workspace environment for you guys.
And, I do need to preface, again, this is not necessarily for the committee, but just for everybody. Same thing I preface with department heads, is that this is going to be a transition, and it's, sometimes these things are challenging to manage. But we have enough resources with SimQuest and enough internal resources to help manage through some of the hurdles and road bumps that we certainly foresee happening.
So when you say speed bumps or,
Yes.
complications, do you mean, should we be concerned or about loss of information, loss of data? Like, will some of our emails get like they disappear?
Right.
Because sometimes that happens,
No, those probably are not things that you should be concerned about. Things that we look at is really more about user adoption, and that type of thing. But there are going to be some hurdles because we're dealing with a large user base. But like the mayor said, we've planned ahead because we have layers of support in here. We have a whole education layer that's a component to this service. It's available to all staff so that they can feel comfortable with applications and how they're used and actually develop greater proficiency if they want to. And that could be an initiative that you guys have 100% control of across the city. We have a whole layer of Google support just to support tickets for Google that are going to come up as you guys go live. And of course, you're going to have us to hold your hand as well to support all the other aspects of technology while this stuff is going on, so that the balance of responsibilities is covered. So I think you guys are going to be in really amazing shape. It's really quite a fantastic accomplishment that the city's adopting here in such a short period of time. We're talking about, we've been working together for a little less than a year now. The earliest ideas of this, it probably could have been a 2 or a 3 year project, but the city's really moving forward, and we got all the bases covered to support you. Anything here, Mayor, that you want to address? I mean, this is really kind of the outline I have for the time. We're really going to be busy between now and the end of the year, and I do anticipate some spillover into the early part of the year, but the lion's share of all of this work, if not all of it, in most cases will be done.
Looks good.
Okay, great news. The next thing is the great news, right? That I was happy to share with the mayor earlier was, and the mayor asked me to prepare this all for you guys to, show what were our earliest cost estimates and what are actual costs of these contracts today, or when we go forward. We originally looked at the actual, with this Google Workspace, you have 2 components that we're delivering, right? We're going to be delivering the applications, your tenant with Google and the IT services that support that. There's put a lot of the components here that are covered. I kind of was speaking about it a moment ago. And then also the actual migration, the labor that it takes to get you there. And originally we're looking at an ongoing investment, which sits inside your current IT expense already of 18 to 11. And when I fine-tuned everything for the final signatures and authorizations, it was just a little bit more, and that's to account for a virtual machine on the server. So there's a slight increase in the cost, but nothing major. The great thing that I committed to the mayor said, as we can change this plan over to Google Workspace, if we can save the city some money, we're really going to work to do that. We worked together with Konica Minolta and our internal resources, and we took the original budget figures that we proposed to the city and the migration plan that was up here in the $55,000 to the $66,000 price range, and we were able to get this down to $10,845 for the city. So there's a recovered cost that you guys were planning on here between $44,000 and $55,000. And I was really, that was not all that often that we're able to do something like that. So I was really thrilled about that particular outcome. So that's on the Google Workspace migration, just a pure numbers, update. You have any questions or thoughts there?
No,
Okay, great. So then we come down, and the other piece of the puzzle here is the SQL Server. This is when we looked at the migration plan, we were talking about 25 different servers that all are going to be going away, but also looking at, well, what on-prem or what here at the city is a workload that for the most part needs to stay on premise. And so in this case, there's the SQL Server, which serves the BAS database software and runs on SQL Express. And then there's also some software at the fire department that would need to stay on-prem. So, if you think about it, going from 25 different servers down to one is great. And we knew that there was going to be some things, and fortunately it's not too much, that would need to stay on-prem. And we had a cost projection for the labor to install that server, get it built, and migrate migrate those applications and all that data and get that configured for you. We were only about $550 off on the high end, in terms of our estimate to what we've actually put in front of the mayor for a statement of work, and you all have approved. The our original server hardware investments were on the low side. That was mostly my fault. I kind of looked at a really basic server, and when I put that through our pre-sales and engineering channel, they came back with a slightly bigger server that's going to be able to do a better job for those applications. So the hardware increase went up, but at the end of the day, being able to recover the amount of money that we were looking at on the hosted migration, the net is savings for the city. And those were really the updates that I wanted to share with you tonight. I'm here to answer any other questions you might have about these projects or anything, but that's what I have for you.
Matt, can you also, can you provide this document to us, and I can share with the rest of the council as well?
yeah, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep. Oh, and I did miss one point. When we were looking at your services for Google Workspace, there's one thing that I'm still working on for you guys before the contract is effective on January 1st, and it's the custom Google Workspace support. That's a pretty sizable amount of the ongoing service costs for this plan, and I'm actually working to similarly, like I did with what we did with this migration, is see if I can get you a lower rate on that. So you might even see this number before January, the actual ongoing recurring revenue costs go down. So trying to save you guys some money there as well.
Right. Any questions for Matt?
No,
Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Alrighty.
There's no public comment. Well, there's nobody here to public comment. Any new business? No. Seeing no new business, no public comment, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Councilor Gibbs, second by Councilor Bob. All in favor?
Hi.
We are now adjourned.